What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you guys can hear me all right, please put a 1 in the chat for me. Excuse me. So we got a crazy show, and we'll kind of go over the case for those that have not heard of the Delphi murders of Abby and Libby. But there has been some new developments the past week, even more, that I'm just finding out these last couple of days. I'm kind of surprised no one's covering it, because this could be like huge. I don't want to like make it huge, like blow it up, but this is like the first time I've seen any like active movement in this case in a long time. So I'm like super excited. I really hope this leads to something, and of course we will go over that. Of course, for those that are new to the channel, I am Chris with Monsters Under Our Bed. We cover murder, mystery to the paranormal, and in all my videos I like to feature the missing. So before we get going, let's cover a couple here. So this is Haley Cummings. She went missing on August the 9th of this year. She's just 16 years old, 5'4", brown eyes, light brown hair. Haley still may be in the local area. She may have traveled to White or Cartersville, Georgia, and may be with someone she met online. She has pierced ears and braces. She previously had went missing and was found in January 2012, January 2022 of this year. Yeah, it was so crazy when I saw this, because I featured her before. It was so weird. It was like, when I saw this, I'm like, gosh, I know that name. Like, she went missing at the beginning of this year. I covered it. Luckily she was found. I'm guessing maybe she attempted to run away. Not sure. I'd have to go back and look at it. But unfortunately, Gus's poor family, she is now missing again. Sounds like she has met somebody possibly and could be in danger. So anybody in Indiana, please be on the lookout for her. And also in Georgia's, because that's what the note says here, White or Cartersville. So the number to call is down here, 765-747-4838. Karen Lee, and shout out to all my mods. You guys are amazing. Karen Lee was a big advocate for the missing. She was missing before, and we featured her on this channel. So hopefully it'll have the same outcome when they find her. So there's one more, thanks to Tom N. He sent this to me yesterday, and I hope I can get this name right here. So this girl is Esperanza Barrera. Hope I said that right. She's just 16 years old. She was last seen at 10:30 p.m. on Monday, so that would have been August 22nd of this week, near her home on 4300 block of Hayden. She's just 4'11", 144 pounds, looks like dark brown hair, brown eyes from the picture here, in Amarillo, Texas. So anybody in Amarillo or in Texas, keep a lookout for Esperanza. Alright, so let's close that out. And so we will quickly, so for those that are just tuning in, we're going to cover the Delphi case, just because there's been some crazy updates. And I will still be covering the Dylan rounds, and if there's any developments with Kylie Rodney, if there's anything, if they think it's foul play, we'll, of course, dive into that. But Dylan rounds, of course, we're going to be making a trip here real soon to go back out there and look for him. So, not sure exactly what day. So, all right, so on to Abby and Libby. So we'll just kind of go over the basic timeline, and then I'll just kind of get everybody up to date for those that may not have followed this case closely. So 5 years ago, on Monday, February the 13th, day before Valentine's Day, two girls, Abby and Libby, it was a makeup day, so they didn't have school that day. And last minute, they just decided to go to what they call the Monon High Bridge Trail. And So Libby's sister, Kelsi German, decided to drive them to this bridge, and they're dropped off at approximately, we'll say, just before 1:40 p.m. And they were dropped off at this area right here. It's kind of a shortcut to get onto what they call the 501 Trail. This 501 Trail leads to the Monon High Bridge here. Let me clear that off real quick. And so she drops the two girls off, and the girls start continuing on the 501 Trail. And they approach the bridge, and we're going to look at the bridge here in just a minute. And they take a picture. Libby has her phone, and so she takes a picture. And there's 6 platforms, as you can see, 1 through 6. And so they are walking, and they take a picture at about 2:05 p.m. and she uploads it to Snapchat. Then when they approach about halfway on the bridge, which is platform 3, Libby takes this picture of Abby looking back at the direction they just came from, and this is uploaded at 2:07. And then we would learn later that while they were at the end of the bridge here, there was a strange man that kind of caught up to them because they were kind of going slow because this bridge is dangerous. It's just railroad ties, and some of them are actually missing. So a lot of people, we've seen people that will take a look at the bridge and won't even cross it, like grown adult guys. Probably if I looked at the bridge, I probably wouldn't cross it. I'm scared of heights. So it's a very intimidating bridge, and if you fall, you would probably fall to your death, because there is a creek under the bridge, but it's very shallow, and you probably not survive. So at 2:13, this guy is approaching them at around platform 6 here. Libby was smart enough to hold out her phone and record this guy for, they say, 43 seconds. And then unfortunately, the girls were supposed to only be out there for about an hour. The father was going to pick them up around, I think, 4 o'clock or something like that. And sadly, when he arrived, the girls were not there at the pickup spot. And so, let's see, let me catch up here. So Derek arrives at 3:14. And let's see, let me catch up here. So Derek at 3:30 starts to attempt to walk the 501 trail looking for the girls. Catches up to one guy who would be known as Flannel Shirt Guy, Dave McCain or David McCain. There's 2 of them. They're brothers, but they said Derek German asked if he had seen the girls, and he had said no. So unfortunately, Derek would go back on the 501 and come down this 505 trail, and unfortunately he would not find the girls. And so they spent all night looking for the girls. They got law enforcement involved and could not find the girls all night. They had to call off the search at the middle of the night, and they resumed very early the next day. Sadly, they would find the girls. Scroll back up here. Sadly, they would find the girls murdered, and their bodies would be across the creek on the other side. And so, very sad. So what's so unique about this case is not only do they have like video evidence of the actual killer, which is a short 1-second clip is what you're seeing replaying right here, but we actually have actual audio of him talking, which is taken from the 43-second clip, and it is this right here. So we'll play this real quick.
Guys, down the hill. Guys, down the hill. Guys, down the hill.
So sorry, it's not that loud. If I find a better recording, I'll play it for you guys. But so it basically says, guys down the hill, they believe it's cut up, and it's not just one audio. They kind of had to take some things out between the girls talking and stuff. So, and so now this would be 5 years later. It's still unsolved. They would end up releasing 2 sketches. Let's see if the sketches are here. Let me go to the top real quick. Here, actually, I got the sketches. So they would first release this sketch here, and this kind of looks like him. And this was a combination, I believe, of 2 witnesses and a combination of the video. The 2 witnesses, they reported seeing a guy with a scarf over his face. So it looks like they added in, the mouth and the facial hair here. And then in 2019, they would release a new sketch, a much younger looking sketch. And they would say the killer could be anywhere from 18 years old to 40 years old. So it really confused a lot of people, because the sketches, when you look at them side by side, honestly, some people see some resemblance, but it looks like just 2 different people. So there's always been a lot of confusion, and a lot of people feel like this was one of the biggest mistakes, is having 2 different sketches, because it confused a lot of people. So now on to Keegan Klein. So Keegan Klein, I'm going to play a video for you guys to kind of get you caught up on if you don't know about this guy with the mugshot. I'm going to play this news clip for you guys so you can kind of get an idea of who this is. Confused.
5 years after the...
Yeah, confused understatement. Yeah, one of the biggest, I think, mistakes was the 2 sketches. It really confused people, and they weren't sure if they were looking for a young guy, an older guy, in between. Law enforcement has come out and said, or Doug Carter, superintendent, has come out and said, he believes that the two sketches are the same guy. The other young guy sketch come from a separate witness, from a separate account, and that's how that sketch was developed. They believe it's just the same guy, but he was just wearing 2 different outfits at the time, and of course, just you get 2 different witnesses could come up with different sketches. It's just crazy how they're so different, though. So here's the video. I'm gonna play this. I gotta go let my little pug outside because he's crying. Like I said, I know most of you probably know this case, but for those who may be newer, so these are the 2 guys. This is Keegan Klein, and this is Father Tony Klein. Now, Keegan Klein, for his size, and we've, if you're new to the case and you find it interesting, because I think this case is probably the most interesting case next to probably John Benet Ramsey as far as unsolved cases. And I've taken a deep look into both of them. And as far as Keegan Klein, his body type, I think he's a little too big, no offense, but to be as far as like the bridge guy. Tony on the other hand, looks like he could fit that, but he is slightly tall. That's the only thing that's like the problem with the father. But the father is definitely capable. We've heard, he has a very dark past. Was very abusive to his stepchildren, and there's a lot of stuff. We're not going to go into that, but yeah, they are kind of bigger guys. But and then what's weird is his voice sounds like the voice that is on the recording, Guys Down the Hill. But we've heard his voice from a voicemail, and he's got a much lighter, almost girly man voice, which sounds nothing like Guys Down the Hill. So it's kind of weird. You got this where he could probably fit as the guy on the bridge. Keegan Klein, I don't think so. What we've learned as far as his history is he was kind of more of a shut-in. Obviously, we're going to learn that, he got into looking at underage stuff, and now is looking at 30 counts of CSAM, CP, basically. And they've been pushing back his court date, and we've all been kind of wondering why they keep pushing it back. I mean, he was supposed to have court this year, February, then it got like pushed back to March, May, then I think like September, October, and now we're looking at next year, a pre-trial at the end of this year, but no real trial until next year. I mean, it just keeps getting pushed back, which is crazy. So people feel like it's a possibility that he's finally, like, the pressure's on, and anyway, we'll get to that here in just a minute. Melissa says, highly doubt they had anything to do with it. Could be. It could be indirectly involved, but we'll get to that here in a bit. It's really, I'll be honest, it's really hard for me to picture either one of them on the bridge, to be honest with you, because we really kind of looked deep into both of them, how they would look on the bridge, and they honestly, Tony would be the closest one, but then again, he doesn't have the voice that sounds like, guys down the hill. But I still think there's still maybe a big piece that maybe we just don't know about, and they're still connected, through maybe this was, they've talked about in the Ron Logan warrant that there was possible, because they were looking for digital evidence. They believed that this murder could have been like recorded, photographed, somehow documented on some kind of device, sadly, and that Keegan might have gotten a hold of this or knows something about it.
County Sheriff.
So there's Murder Sheets definitely got a lot of heat when they released this Keegan Klein document that they've had for a long time. Honestly, I think when they released this, it like exploded. Everybody was covering it, and it brought more attention to the case again. And I think if it got the Indiana State Police Department or whoever, FBI, more tips, then ultimately, I mean, the ends justify the means. If it gets them that tip that they need to, arrest whoever was responsible, if it takes a couple of leaks, then, I mean, it's been 5 years. I mean, how many more years does family got to wait? So, but they do get some heat for that. I do understand that for sure. They said they got these documents through legal means. Obviously, they've have spoken with law enforcement about it. So, let's see. Let's switch over to, okay, so the new audio. So the murder sheet, and this is why I wanted to cover it today, is they said that Keegan Klein was booked out of the county jail and went on a ride to the Wabash River, which is close to their house, to search for something, which is crazy. So we'll play that here. And then we've got actual video of them out searching, which is crazy. I have not seen, since I've been covering this case, like any kind of like actual activity searching that would relate to the Delphi murders. Now, it's either one of two things. Either he's cooperating for his charges against his Anthony Shots account and the CSAM, but they've already got all of this. I mean, all the charges are stacked on him. I think they have a solid case. I don't see why they would need to get more evidence as far as just his charges, the 30 counts that he's facing. I don't think they need any more like physical evidence. They have plenty, and he's basically kind of admitted that he's looking up that stuff. The stuff that he denies is actually talking to Libby. So I think if it's either the Anthony Shots or directly related to Delphi, I would lean towards Delphi. I mean, as far as why they pulled him out and he brought them to this Wabash River.
They obviously would love to have that footage, but they...
Okay, so
If the FBI gets involved in a case that directly involves you, don't just assume they are doing everything perfectly. Ask questions.
The newspaper that should be .com/Facebook at msheetpod. Right.
Okay, there it is.
So they had the power to take him out of the jail to other locations.
And he and his attorney, Andrew Akey, are okay with that. They have to. They need their permission to do that. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So it's not that the Indiana State Police is coming in and unilaterally saying, give him to us. Everyone has to be okay with this.
And I should highlight that...
Okay, so just for what they're talking about. So this came out today. This is called the Delphi Murders August 2022 Updates. Keegan Klein was temporarily and voluntarily transferred into custody of Indiana State Police on Friday, August 19th. Then they say on the 23rd, they drove up to Peru, Indiana, and witnessed state police searching the Wabash River. So apparently they took him out of county jail, went for a ride, and on the 19th, and then he showed them an area, I guess, of where obviously there's some kind of evidence. We don't know what that evidence is right now, but obviously there's got to be something there.
Mr. Aki or Mr. Akey signed this filing.
Okay. Why would, in your understanding of the law and criminal cases, in what instances would this sort of device be used? Why would the ISP or any sort of other agency be coming in to basically borrow somebody like this?
One thing that I think is important to mention is it feels unlikely that the timing of this and the timing of the rather extensive search we saw of the river is coincidental.
Yeah, that feels like a hard thing to believe for me too. Now, you and I are speculating here because we don't know the details of the search. We don't know the details of why the ISP had temporary custody of Keegan. But we can say, putting two and two together, essentially, it's certainly suggestive of possibly Keegan Klein being talked to about said search, participating in said search. I don't know.
Perhaps giving information about locations or what could be hoped to be found in said search.
Yeah, I think that is that's probably as comfortable as I am in terms of speculating about that. I really don't think we should get too far ahead of ourselves with this because so much is unknown. But I think it is fair to say these things happening so in concert with one another certainly seems interesting.
It doesn't feel like it's a coincidence.
No, it doesn't. We'd like to extend a warm welcome to this episode's sponsor.
So let's look at what they've been doing. And then there's some other information as well about Keegan Klein that was actually just released like a week or so ago. There's been a lot going on while all this other, Kylie Rodney case has been going on, Dylan Round's case. There's been some stuff going on, but been so focused on the other cases. Then I look at this, and now they're... I look at Reddit. They said they're on day 8 of the search in the river. So here's this video here. Let's see if I can get a full screen here. So it's not much, but we'll show you. So here you can see searchers, and I've got some other pictures here. And I'll show you guys on Google Earth where they're at here. But here you can see them. Now what's interesting is they're right above this bridge. You could have easily just tossed something over, as far as evidence-wise, what that is, who knows? If you want to share in the chat what you think Keegan Klein might have attempted to throw over. If it was Keegan, it could be Tony. It could be somebody else that he knows. He knows something that we don't know, another person. But if you want to share in the chat what you think might be in this river, could it be a murder weapon? Could it be... For me, it's hard to think of that he'd have another... I mean, I know he had a lot of devices with, bad stuff on it. But what do you have, like 4 or 5 devices? I don't really think that they would really use all these resources to go after another device. Just, I think they have plenty of stuff to, nail him to the wall with. So that's why I find it really hard for, as far as his 30 charges, that they would really need any more evidence. And so weapon or phone? Yeah, weapon or phone. People are saying weapon or phone. Yeah, interesting. Bad stuff, yeah. Oh, so there's the bridge. Oh, okay, I see where they're at. So they're like in a parking lot or something there. So there's other photos here of them searching. I think this is... I mean, I don't want to hype this up, but, I mean... this is 5 years. This poor family has not, gotten any answers. And with the Karina case being solved finally, which was a few months ago, and I haven't covered that on this case, and that happened in Indiana. And just things that I've heard almost months ago, it feels like, just from what I've been told, and this is all just speculation, of course, but I've heard a lot of rumors that this, the Delphi murder case, there's been developments. But, take that with a grain of salt. A lot of this stuff is really working around rumors. But, let's see. Let's see. Search today. Okay, so that's just that one. There's some other pictures I came across. Oh, here we go. So what they're using here, from what they're saying, so what this red thing, and we'll kind of zoom in on it here in just a second. Oh, cool, they pulled it up. So it's what they call a side scan sonar. And basically, let's see if they describe it here. It is able to capture high-resolution images of the riverbed anywhere from 50 to 200 feet on either side of the sonar. So that's pretty cool. So that's what they're saying this thing is here. Oh yeah, and that looks just like it. So some kind of scanner or sonar, and they're scanning the bottom there. I've seen a couple of other pictures here. Oh yeah, here we go. So we've got this one here. So it looks like they're right under that bridge there. Looks like I don't want to say they found something, but it's kind of weird how they got these flags up. I don't know what that means, but when they first started doing this, apparently the locals weren't really sure what was going on. They said this could be a training exercise, but then I heard like in the Reddit posts that there was retired law enforcement say that this doesn't look like an exercise. Usually they'll announce when they're doing exercises, and he said that the fact that they're not really wearing anything is that like they're trying to be kind of low key in this area here. Let's see. Right back out. Oh yeah, okay. Another picture here. So it looks like they've got a metal detector, they got a bucket and a shovel here. Oh, I'd like to know what your gut feeling is. What your idea is. Let's see. So, oh wow. So here they got their little setup here. That's just off the shore there. that. That river is pretty wide too. I'll show you guys real quick just kind of what it looks like from Google Maps. So just kind of give you guys an idea of where they're at. So here's the Wabash River. Now, they live, I believe, over here. I'd have to double check, but I believe they're not far from where Keegan Klein's residence at that time in 2017 was, I believe, somewhere in this area here. So not far from this bridge here. And just to kind of show you where, so they lived here, and then the Delphi murders happened. So here's the Monon High Bridge. So they're about 35 minutes, 35 miles away, approximately. And so, let me just show you guys. So let's get on this, get on that real quick. There we go. So there's kind of a look at it. Actually, I think they're on this side here. Yeah, because there's the bridge. So if I can jump over one here. So that's it's a pretty wide river. Let's see. So they looks like they had their setup somewhere right over here, and we're doing a lot of searching around in that area here. Multiple days. For those that are just tuning in, we're covering the Delphi murder case. Keegan Klein was apparently pulled out of county jail, took into this Wabash River on August 19th to point something out, and then was taken straight back. And since then, they've been searching this river. It could be one or two things. It could be evidence that they're looking for just his case, which he has 30 charges of, CP. My only argument against that is they basically have a pretty much open and shut case for him. I mean, they have his devices. He's basically almost admitted to doing what he's done. So I think doesn't really make sense why they would just for his case to go out there and do all this searching for another device. In my opinion, would make more sense if he's cooperating and trying to cut a deal. And this is relates to the Delphi murders. So let's see, there's the last picture. Close that one. Oh, there's a few more. So there's them. They're right under that bridge there. Wabash. Yeah, Wabash. That's right, Wabash. Yeah, thank you. And there's a better shot of that sonar that they got. So the water right there, the water level looks pretty low. I mean, it looks like it's going up to their shins, just below their knees. So not that deep, maybe 2 feet deep, less. Not sure what the current is, but looks like they're not having too much trouble, which is good. Let's see some more pictures. One's a little bit further back, but you can see them out there. Oops. So I think that's all the pictures, but that's pretty wild. And then there's another thing we're gonna go over real quick too. That's that came out as well. It's pretty wild. Wabash. Yeah, I heard them pronounce it. I was like, I'm probably gonna butcher that. Like Wahlberg. Wabash. Okay. Thank you guys. So let's so anyway, so Let's back out of this. Now, the other thing that we've also learned that they released, that the murder sheet, I guess, got a hold of. And so I'm going to play that for you guys here while we look at it. And this is pretty huge as well. So, skip to the front.
The FBI is directly responsible for making a huge blunder in the case.
So now that we've talked about some important context regarding the FBI's Indianapolis division, let's get back to our focus, the Delphi murders. We mentioned that the Bureau has cast a long shadow in this case. Let's quickly run down a few high-level FBI-related details in the Delphi case.
Back on February 22nd, 2017, Greg Massa, the Assistant Special Agent in charge of the FBI Indianapolis office, appeared at a press conference with other law enforcement representatives. He noted that an FBI agent had even joined in the search for the girls when they initially turned up missing. He said that 20 of the Bureau's agents would be at the disposal of law enforcement, and that the FBI viewed itself as taking on an important support role.
That same
Hey,
day,
Jimmy.
Massa also confirmed to the Logansport Pharaohs Tribune that then FBI Director James Comey had been briefed about the murders.
On February 25th, 2017, Bob Ramsey, who was then an FBI agent...
Okay, so let me give you some context just in case you're confused. Okay, so obviously we know the FBI was involved since day one. So, and you'll learn why we're looking at the Marathon gas station, which this Marathon gas station is actually... Pull this back up. And let me back it out. There was a reason why I had this Marathon gas station pulled up. Okay, so keep in mind the Monon High Bridge is right here. Okay, this marathon that we're going to be looking at is... Where'd you go? Oh, there it is. Okay. Hey, easy. Oh, there it is. Okay. So that's where the Marathon gas station is, and the Monon High Bridge. So let's switch that, and let's put in this. You guys can understand what we're looking at. Okay. All right. So we got the bridge here, and we got the Marathon gas station here. Okay, so now I'm going to play this. They're talking about the FBI, because there was some, I guess, some corruption, and they were kind of talking about the Larry Nassar case, because one of the directors, Abbott, was involved during that time, and they felt like he was corrupt, and so there was kind of a connection there. And I want to get too much deep into that because that's a lot there. But anyway, they kind of make the connection that he was still in charge during the time that this murder had just started.
Inexplicably, publicly cleared Keegan Klein after the raid on the Klein household in Peru.
Hey, we got salty pancakes.
Into
What's
March.
up?
As we uncovered earlier this year, FBI agent Nicole Robertson
Sorry, you were blocked.
helped
I
craft a probable cause affidavit.
apologize. Sometimes we have certain mods, and so I had to go on and unblock. Check my block list from time to time, because sometimes we don't have the best of mods. So thank you, Karen Jep, for the $9.99. You're so awesome. Thank you so much.
For a search warrant on Ron Logan's property in connection with the case.
The shadow of the Bureau has even fallen over other law enforcement agencies involved in the case. Onlookers
we
heard
got
Indiana
fake
State
salty.
Police Superintendent Doug Carter's 2019 press conference announcing a new direction in the case. When his presentation took on both emotional and religious overtones, some wondered if they might be hearing words written by an FBI criminal profiler, carefully crafted to flush out the killer. That was obviously just pure speculation. but it goes to show how much the FBI has remained top of mind in this case for those who follow it.
Now, as far as we can tell, former Agent Ramsey and Agent Robertson were based out of the Chicago area. But the Indianapolis division of the FBI was also all over Delphi. Don't take our word for it. Listen to W.J. Abbott himself, speaking to Fox 59.
Indiana State Police stayed the forefront and in charge of the case. But I will tell you that there were those days.
So I'm going to skip this forward because this is still kind of connected to the last Larry Nassar thing.
You know, the state police. And Doug.
I was on the scene nearly immediately.
And what is interesting is apparently Abbott is friends with Superintendent Doug Carter. So
it's not as if they were responding weeks later after all the tapes had been wiped clean. But even as the murders continued to go unsolved for years, other law enforcement officials rested assured that the FBI had done all it could to obtain the relevant surveillance footage from area establishments.
Well, this became highly relevant later, after the investigation began pointing back to Keegan Klein and his father, Tony. As it turned out, our sources tell us, Keegan Klein had searched for the location of the Marathon gas station in Delphi on the day of the murders.
that's it right there. That is like crazy. So he looked up, for whatever reason, the Marathon gas station the day of the murders. That is so crazy. So let me pull that right back up. So, and that Marathon gas station is right here. It is, let's see, it is 4 minutes. There's a couple ways you can go. I guess this is the best route. I wonder if I change this. Okay, so let me put this. Yeah, that might be better. So it's still 4 minutes either way, basically. So you can basically. So if you guys remember, this is where the abandoned CP building was, the CPS building. That they thought that there was a car parked there. And whoever could have driven up 300 North, winged around, got on Main Street here, drove down, and then this Marathon gas station is just right there. So, and what's interesting about this Marathon gas station is it has cameras. So we'll play a little bit more on what happened to the video evidence from this Marathon gas station.
If police could have reviewed the surveillance footage from the Marathon and saw that it had picked up Keegan, his father, or one of their vehicles, then that would have been huge.
Only, there was no surveillance footage from the Marathon to be reviewed. The FBI had not fulfilled their obligations in the early days of the investigation. They hadn't obtained that key surveillance footage from the Marathon station. A gas station clerk told law enforcement that they remembered FBI employees coming in to obtain video surveillance. The gas station fully cooperated. What happened next was not their fault. When the FBI's portable thumb drive didn't function properly, the business handed over the necessary hard drive for the FBI to analyze. But there were either additional technical issues or some sort of task management mishap. And the FBI then returned the hard drive without having obtained the necessary footage.
Our source also told us that the FBI was the agency that had initially cleared the Kleins, based on their false claims that they had been in Las Vegas at the time of the murder. We, of course, don't have all the facts about what exact FBI personnel were involved with these mistakes.
So that's crazy, because first they have a thumb drive. They put this surveillance on a thumb drive. And that somehow gets, corrupted or whatever, lost, broken. They don't, know the full details. So then the FBI goes back to the Marathon to get the original hard drive. And they take that, and that somehow gets corrupted or lost or broken, whatever. And so that I mean, maybe there could have been maybe it was corrupted from the beginning. I mean, I'm not an expert in, with the surveillance and how it works, but it's kind of weird that, they would download it onto a thumb drive. That would get messed up. They go back, get the original, and that's same result. So let me show you guys where pull this up here. So here's the Marathon gas station. So this did have 2 cameras. It's got one here and one, and that one's kind of blocked. Let me back out here. And then also it's got one facing this way. And they look like they're kind of facing the street as well. They're both at an angle. Looks like this one I don't know, it's kind of tough to tell. This one looks like it's maybe facing towards the gas station, and then this one here is more facing like this direction here, which would more likely have caught cars coming or going from here. So either way, and then apparently they had spoken to the people at this gas station, and they said that they did everything that they were asked. They handed what they wanted over, and it's no fault of theirs. And it's just weird that why was Keegan Klein looking up the Marathon gas station? Could it just be just stupid coincidence, possibly? Gosh darn it, Chris, you're going to have me listening to this podcast laugh out loud. There has been some crazy stuff coming out. Like I said, it's just been overshadowed by all these other cases that have been going on. And I think it's crazy that no one's covering this right now, because like I said, I've only been on YouTube for a year, but I've followed this case. I've heard of it when it first came out, but probably didn't really fully start following it as deeply until about 3 years. And I have never seen, but of course the FBI, you never know what they're actually doing, But I've never seen it on a scale like this, where they're actually potentially looking for evidence that could be related to this case. I just cannot see them needing any more evidence to, put the nail in the coffin of Keegan Klein. I feel like his bags are packed. He's done. He's toast. And so it's just, what are they looking for? And I know I kind of asked you guys this earlier. I think phone and weapon were the 2 biggest ones. And then let me just remind you guys that they were in the Ron Logan search warrant. They did believe that there's a possibility that whoever committed the murders recorded it in some way, took photos or actual, video of the murders. And the other thing that's so sketchy about the Kleins is, and we'll pull up this picture because this, basically they said that they were in Vegas. They told family members, especially Keegan, said, "Yeah, we're in Vegas right now. We're, we've been out here for months." And it turns out they didn't go until June or something, and they were only out there for a couple weeks. But he had told his friends that they'd been out there for months. And then the other thing that that caught my eye way back when this first came out is, why in the hell, out of all the days, Keegan chooses to update his his job on Facebook, saying that he is now a blackjack dealer, literally on February the 13th, the day of the murders. That is so sketchy. Why would he do that? It's so weird. But at the same time, I don't think, honestly, Keegan, let's just look at the video for those that... let me put a little side by side real quick. And that's a good way to do it here. Oops. Back here. Let's close this. Pull that over. I've got some other pictures, but oh, work with me. So right there. Okay, so we're just I just got his walk on, just kind of replay, and oops. But like I said, this his body type. I mean, not to be offensive, but he's just too big. And then you got to remember that. I don't know if anybody's seen the Greenos reenactments. I know some people love him or hate him. What he did with the reenactment videos, I think, is amazing because it just kind of gives you an idea of what kind of took in place with the girls and the chase, and just how much physical activity would have taken place to go down this steep hill and then to cross this very cold river. It's February. That water is freezing cold. And there's a lot of dips in the river itself. We watched like one of the actors actually like face plant into the river when they were doing this reenactment, which I think probably happened to one of the girls. I think one got across and the other one fell behind and the killer caught up to him. But whoever did this had to be in somewhat of decent shape. Is basically what I'm trying to say, to be able to pull this off. Sorry, I got everything here. But so this is Tony, this is Keegan, for those that are kind of near to the case. But and then the audio, like I said, I did a video where we compared both voices, and maybe I'll have to do another like video where I kind of do just the basic timeline and with all the latest updates. But Tony Klein, it kind of depends on his height. I mean, the killer, so let's just look at what the FBI says, and they've taken a lot of stuff off. I mean, it used to have a lot more description. They took the height and weight away, so they say it's between 18 and 80 years old, reddish brown hair, male, white. They used to have weights, I believe, 180 to 220 pounds. And then on the height, they thought it was somewhere between 5'6" and I believe 5'10". It might be 5'8", 5'6" to 5'10". Greeno did go out there and try to see if they could get a more accurate height by doing some experiments, and they came up with, they feel like this guy was most likely 5'8", give or take an inch. So you're looking at 5'7" to 5'9" through their research. The reason why it's hard to tell is because this bridge that he's walking on it's not level. Like each board, some be a few inches lower, higher. So every step he could be, a different height. Plus they're, a certain amount of feet back. They're 70 feet, I think, just a little bit less than 70 feet from the killer. So there's a lot of different angles. Let me just see the chat here. Bushi. So one of the girls has cell phone saying the guy approaching them, why not call 911 or the parents do something? So this is what probably happened, Bushi, or something like it. So, they get to the end of the bridge. They see this guy. Let me just play the video. They see this guy walking, right? Now, I think, obviously, it's just two, young girls. They're 12 and 13? 13 years old. And they're probably just thinking, hey, there's just a creepy guy. Let's just, I'm going to pull out my phone, just, to kind of record him. And so what, for those that might be newer to the case, what you may not know and this killer, I think this shows that this killer was most likely local, is that even though this is a trail, and here's the bridge here, this is actually, once you get to the end of the bridge, it's actually just like a dead end, really. There's no more really of the trail, because you've got private property. So really the thing is you would cross the bridge and then turn around and go back. That's basically it. So what happened is these girls reach the end of the bridge, and then here's this guy, approaching them, and they're just probably hoping that, he just probably hoping that he walks by them and nothing happens. But unfortunately, he, and it's speculation, but we've heard that there's most likely this guy brandished a gun and then controlled them from there and then forced them down the hill. And then they tried to make a run for it. Let me pull up the better map here. They most likely tried to make a run for it here. Let's see if I can go back in time so I can show you guys where you can see it a little bit better. Yeah, that's a better look at it. Okay, cool. So the poor girls are probably standing right here at the end here. And then this guy is approaching platform 6 when she starts filming. It's estimated 9 to 12 seconds from him to get from platform 6 to the girls. And then he must have brandished most likely a gun, had forced them down the hill, because you hear him say, guys, down the hill. Forced them down this first hill. Then there's another embankment. A lot of people believe that he was maybe trying to get them to maybe this area here. But then the one or both girls started running. They ended up running across the creek. He could have caught up to one of them, because one of them may have fell behind. Another thing that's really tough is the embankment is really steep. There's not many areas to just go walking right up the embankment. You almost have to climb. So it's most likely that maybe one girl kind of fell behind. He caught up to one of them and then kind of controlled her by saying, hey, if you keep running, I'm going to kill her. And that's what may have happened. But so for those that are just maybe missed out, we'll play this one more time. So the new big kind of news is that Keegan Klein on August 19th, just what are we looking at? 24th. So 5 days ago, was released from county jail, went on a drive, and they went to, back this out here. Go back up. And they went to Peru here at this Wabash River. I gotta find my spot here. Let me pull it up again real quick. Where's utility? There it is. Okay, right there. So they went on a ride, and he came to this, took them to this Wabash, that's right, Wabash River, and had pointed something out. And so they've been out there searching this river with different sonar. There's a look at them out there. Let's find a better picture here. There's a better picture. So they've got this sonar that reads from 500 to 300 feet, and it basically scans the bottom of the riverbed. And basically his court has been pushed back He was originally going to have court in February. That got pushed back to April, May, and I think like September or October. And now it's pushed back all the way until next year. There's pre-trial is, I think, in October. They believe that finally he's starting to cooperate. And like I said, I just don't think that this really... I don't think this is a connection to his case with just his 30 counts of CSAM, because they've already got him nailed to the wall with all that stuff. I don't see why they would need any more evidence for that case in particular. And so I think there's a great possibility that there's some kind of connection, either through his father being the possible killer, or he's the one that had like digital evidence of the murder. Maybe that'd be the two big ones, and that's what they're looking for: either murder weapon or some kind of digital evidence. Would be the two big ones. So, but just checking here. Yeah, Wabash. Yeah, it's interesting. I like the name of the river, Wabash. Yeah, with the animals, it usually takes me about a week because I have to get like a certain amount of people to send in enough, and then I try to take one or two from each person that sends them in. So if you're newer to the channel and you got a pet, you can email me, and like I said, it takes a little while, but I'll eventually get your pet into an outro, and it's a lot of fun. So, and then of course Dylan Rounds. Of course, we're going to be going back out there pretty soon, and not sure exactly what day yet, but we'll probably just be out there and we'll go live or something. Let's see what the polls. So there's 384 votes. Do you think one of the Kleins, Tony or Keegan, are the killer? 71% of you guys have said, so it's basically 70-30. So yeah, as far as being the actual like murderer, it's still kind of tough. Let's show you guys side by side of. The other thing is they really don't look like the sketches either, in my opinion. I mean, of course, law enforcement doesn't want people like matching them up. Chris, I know you weren't planning to, but can we listen to the voices? Okay, yeah, I'll play. I got Keegan's. It might take me a minute to find. Yeah, you guys want to match them up? Okay, let me get all this, and we'll listen to the voices. Get this all cleared out, and we will match them up. I don't know why it will not just let me cancel it out through that. So weird. Okay, so let's start with Keegan. So I know I have his. All right, so let's pull this up. Wait, nope, that's not the right one. There we go.
I feel like I'm being harassed completely.
Did you have anything to do with the murders of Abby or Libby?
Not at all, and I've gave up my DNA, a hair follicle test. I've done everything they wanted me to.
In December, Delphi investigators announced that catfish account Anthony Schatz was active on Instagram and Snapchat in 2016 and 2017, and they asked for anyone who interacted with that profile to come forward. But more than a year ago, then 26-year-old Keegan Klein admitted to investigators that he was behind the fake profile and that he used it to ask young girls for nude pictures and videos. Tell me about Anthony Schatz. Why did you create that profile?
I don't really know. I was just lonely, you know what I mean? Just talking to people. I don't know why I did it, really.
And were you ever trying to meet these girls in real life that you were talking to?
No, never.
Just 11 days after the murders of Abby and Libby, task force investigators served a search warrant on the home that Keegan shared with his dad. At the time, the FBI told the Lafayette Journal and Courier they found nothing to indicate a connection to the Delphi case. Pornography. Why do you think investigators are putting so much focus on you?
Okay. All right. I'm going to try and match it up. Sorry, the other one's kind of low.
You right now.
I have not a clue. Because I think it's...
Okay, yeah, this is where it really sounds like him right here. Okay, so let me minimize that. All right.
Guys,
You right now.
I have not a clue. Because I think it's because they said I was the last person to talk to her, is what they told me.
And then she shows up at the bridge and they're abducted and later found dead.
Right.
And that was not you.
No, 100% not.
Keegan says he has no memory or knowledge of communicating with Libby, and investigators haven't confirmed if what he says is true.
Yeah, it's not the best. Sorry, I usually have the better setup with the louder guys down the hill, but I don't have it on me right now. Let me see if I can find Tony's father, which would be Klein's voice. Let's see, Tony Klein's voicemail. Okay, yep, this is it. Okay, here we go. So I am going to have to separate this real quick to do this. Yeah, it's much lighter voice, but it's so weird because, like I said, his dad would fit more of the bill as far as being the guy on the bridge, but the audio sounds like his son. So it's yeah. All I can say, Dark Wolf, is basically the father does not sound anything like what the audio is, but the son, Keegan, does actually sound pretty close to guys down the hill. And then we've heard even the stepson saying, Bart, that had to go through that abuse, said that even his stepbrother, who is Keegan Klein, sounds like him. So Doodle Bug Lori! I'm late, but I'm here now listening. Hi, mobs, everyone. Thanks so much for being a member for 2 months. You're so awesome. I guess it was a partial, due to diabetes, Tony, right here, he, I guess had some kind of surgery on the foot because of diabetes. I'm not sure. I think it was... I've heard amputation, but I think they just took a part of his foot. Not 100% sure, but I do know that did happen. Just not sure how much, though. That is the word. Rainy Days member for 4 months. Thank you for bringing the latest info on the Delphi. It's my pleasure. Of course, we're still covering the other cases, but I think this is just huge, in my opinion, just because there has just not been anything with this case for a long time. It's been unsolved for 5 years. And, where was I going with that? And basically, for Keegan to be let out and shown like something in this Wabash River, I think is very interesting. And whatever evidence is in there, it's a good possibility that it's in relation to the Delphi murders. I hope. I really hope. Just for the family. Even though I have a hard time really matching Keegan to the actual killer. But like I said, there could be just a piece of the puzzle that we just do not know. So shout out to the murder sheet. I know it's not everybody's favorite thing. But I think if the murder sheet released all this and it did help get tips running in again for Abby and Libby, then I think the ends justify the means, especially if it leads to that one tip they need to catch this guy. And in my opinion, if they do catch this killer, this case, if they catch the killer, especially if the killer is like alive or whatever, and then it like goes to court, I think this is like gonna be, it won't be like maybe Gabby Tito, but I think it's gonna be like right there with Gabby Tito as far as like true crime, like as far as like craziness, because this is just such a unique case that you've got audio of the killer, you've got video of the killer. It's been 5 years. You got 2 sketches, which was probably the worst thing that ever happened to this case, is the 2 sketches. It really cast a lot of doubt with people, and just hopefully whatever they're doing in this water, and it's happening today, like let me just look at Reddit one more time before we so this was posted 8 hours ago, and these were some of these photos. So these photos could have been from today. I'm not 100% sure. And okay, so this was posted 3 hours ago, and so now this is where it says the search continues day 8, but so maybe they were searching before Keegan came out there. Maybe they were like, okay, Keegan, you need to show us. So they could have been searching this before the 22nd, or what did they say? The 19th, excuse me, the 19th. So 19, 20, 21, 24. Yeah. So maybe they've been out there a couple of days before Keegan came out. But for them to actually bring out Keegan, I think is huge, in my opinion. Let's just hope it's in relation to. Yeah, it was, if a trial epic, yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know if they would televise that just because it's, it's the brutal murder of 2 young innocent girls. And the details would not, but still would be huge either way. But let me just see what you guys have to say. Yeah, hopefully soon they caught. Been way too long. Families, both girls deserve justice. Exactly. Trish says, definitely someone local to the area. Yeah, for them to know that the bridge is like it's basically a dead end. Like they knew that these girls were going to go to one end and then going to have to come back. So this guy knew what he was doing. Oh, you live right outside of Peru. Oh, interesting, Sturge. Have you seen anything going on? Curious. That's pretty crazy. Let's see. Oh wow. Okay, so Darden, yeah, he's a local. I'm a local and saw them in the river at 4:30 today. Oh wow, that's crazy. Thank you for sharing. That's. Let's just hope it's in relationship to the Delphi murders. But that's crazy. Hope they find something. Bushi, thank you for the $1.99. You're so awesome. Thank you so much. So they were searching today at 4:30 when I drove by. That's awesome. So if that's day 8, hopefully that's it's weird. One more time for the chat. Let me know in the chat what you guys think they're looking for. Just curious. There we go. Let's see what time it is. It's almost 7:30. So it's almost been an hour and a half. So just to recap, why you guys let me know what you guys think is they're searching for. So here's the video. One more time of them here. You can kind of see them. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 guys. Obviously, it's kind of tail end of summer, so I'm sure it's pretty warm out there. This guy's got his shirt off. Weapon or phone. Oh my gosh. If it's a weapon, that's crazy. Looking for digital evidence. Camera. Knife or hard drive. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like from the pictures, at least there's like four or five. Your intuition, unrelated, absolutely. My vote is burner phones and walkie. Ooh, burner phone. That's great. Ooh, interesting. Miss Dewey, thank you, Chris, for an honest and real channel love. Thanks, Miss Dewey. You're so awesome. Member for 4 months. That's so awesome. Weapon or smashed up phone. Cell phone, yep. Shoes or weapon. Interesting. There was article of clothing that was taken from the girls. We're not going to get into what, but maybe that. Yeah, walkie-talkie or burner phone. Yeah, I think that's a great possibility for sure. Coastal butterfly. Thank you, Chris, for shining a light on this case. It has been by far the most frustrating. Family and friends are held hostage to this. Much appreciation. Yes. I think, it's tough for everybody in this kind of situation, but 5 years and nothing that's got to be tough. Yeah, that's a good question. Can info survive on a phone after that long? I guess if they ditched it and tried to put it in a package or something. That's what I was thinking too, is it's most likely damaged, but who knows? It's amazing what they could do and retrieve, even if it's been in water. But I guess it just kind of depends on the equipment. Yeah. Oh, thanks so much, Ivy. Mob, you always do a great job. Thank you so much. Like I said, we're still going to be covering the other cases, but like I said, I think this is honestly huge. This is the first time, in my opinion, that I've seen any actual physical activity of law enforcement doing something that could be related to Delphi case. I mean, to me, that's huge. Don't want to get everybody's hopes up, but let's see. Wait a minute. What's this say? Agreed to meet Libby on the Monon Bridge. Fox, India. Yeah, I don't know. Well, okay, yeah, I think they slipped up on that one. But yeah, the other thing is, man, why was Keegan Klein looking up that Marathon gas station, though, that is really interesting. And it's a shame that surveillance evidence got destroyed or corrupted or whatever happened to it. But just one more look at it. So they lived approximately around in this area here. Keegan Klein, the family, I think it's which is interesting. You got Peru, you got Flora, the Flora fires. That's unsolved. Thank you so much, Paula. Thanks for covering this, Chris. It's my honor. True Crime Web says communication is the missing link. He was searching for a reason, and station is less than a mile from the murder site. Yes. So that's what we're going to take one more look at. So, as we can see, this is where the bridge was at. Let's whip this around right there. Monon High Bridge. So we're looking at basically, oops. And didn't fit in right, but basically 4 minutes. That's not 10 minutes. I don't know why it's got it all over there. That's weird. I don't know. Well, let me reset it anyway. But it's basically 4 or 5 minutes from the trail from this parking lot here. Drag to reorder here. See if I can fix it. There we go. That's better. So yeah, they could have taken this Hoosier Highway right here. Whips around. They could have got off the exit here. There's the marathon there. Whatever reason, maybe this was a meetup spot. Maybe they passed by. But I'll just take one more look at it here. But they did have cameras there. Fortunately, they went to retrieve the thumb drive from the surveillance, which has got at least 2 cameras. And they had to return unfortunately the thumb drive got corrupted or something, and then they went back to get the original hard drives, and from what they say is the original hard drives as well got corrupted. So I mean, that's crazy. I mean, imagine if that did actually have the vehicle that we needed that's involved in the murders, and they could have been solved the first month or first year, and it was all because some surveillance evidence got corrupted. That's crazy. So thanks, History Underfoot. Great stream, Chris. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. Like I said, I really hope, like I said, if this case breaks, just one more time, I've heard a lot of rumors since the whole Karina thing got solved, which is a couple months ago, that things have been just that basically got the ball rolling for everything else. And plus the murder sheet, there's been rumors that the murder sheet, basically all that stuff and hype, got the case, everybody talking about the case again, and it got them new tips and leads and could have maybe helped him get that one tip that they've been needing. So other than that, I think we're gonna end it there, guys. And let's see, tomorrow we'll be going live as well, and then probably within, I'm not sure, this weekend or beginning of next week, we'll be going and checking out Dillon Rounds as an area that we want to search. And so we'll be covering that, and we'll be obviously keeping our eye on this and see if we hear any news. It'd be kind of crazy. Yeah, that would be terrible. Let's just hope whatever's in this river they find. Maybe that'll be the piece they need. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like I said, I'm going to play the outro. Thank you guys. Thank you, mods. You guys are amazing. And just thank you so much for everybody for tuning in. I love you guys. Have a great, wonderful Thursday, and we will see you guys tomorrow.